The Warren Smith guy made a video in the J6 group thing. Hold on, I'm calling our DNC people. One sec.
It's so funny because like when I see these things, it's like so many prominent MAGA Republicans betraying the tortured relationships they have with their fathers. Like
right.
We do? Oh.
Well, he can wait. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Wait, Destiny who?
Who?
Do you know who we just talked to? No, I'm just kidding.
So, yo, what's up, big bro?
I'll let you all see in the middle.
Hi, what's up? Are you on a stream right now? What do I go to look at you guys?
Yeah, we are on a stream. You can, I think we're restreaming on my channel, on IRI's channel. Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube.
And Mr. Beast's channel. Kyla just sent you the link.
Do we need to hold his speaker to the mic?
Yeah.
Okay, like this.
Yeah. Hey, Steven, remember, we are around elected officials. Careful, young man. Young man.
Oh, I see you. Oh my God, look at you. Hi, what's up?
What's up, buddy? What's up?
Oh wait.
Have you been watching the DNC? What's going on there?
Hold on. I haven't been. Oh, it's Mr. Beat.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, I was so excited. I thought you said Mr. Beast. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Beat's cool.
He is. Mr. Beat is actually giving out free Ferraris, like 100 Ferraris, like later on. Come to the station.
Like Oprah, instead of Oprah, like you get a Ferrari, you get a Ferrari. That's what. Yeah.
Well, how's it going? Are you guys? Are you keeping safe? I've heard that there are covert Daily Wire operatives roaming the audience right now in disguise. Have you managed to see any of them?
Charlie Kirk was hanging out right there.
Yeah, we did see Charlie Kirk. He wasn't covert. He was like head exposed and everything.
Well, I saw Matt Walsh was supposedly walking around right in a disguise.
Yeah. Somebody on your Reddit said that he walked right past IRI and I, but I didn't
recognize him. Yeah, he's undercover, man.
He was disguised well then, yeah.
Bunch of weirdos. Why are they here? What are they up to? Did you see Mike Lindell got owned by a 12-year-old?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I'll be looking at that clip right after this, though.
Yeah, he apparently shaved his mustache, showed up incognito here at the DNC, and he had a couple of, I think Adam Mockler also confronted him as well, but he had this viral interaction with a 12-year-old who was invited here with his mother along with Vice President Harris, and they got into a debate about voting or something.
Something like election results, yeah. Great. Have you been watching the speeches?
A few. I've been working on other things too, though. But I saw some of Michelle Obama. She was fire. Watched some of Obama. He did really well. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Okay, listen. I don't even give a fuck or care about vice president stuff. The Walls guy is just wow. That dude.
Yeah, he's a real person.
He's from your neck of the woods too, Nebraska.
He's just oh yeah, wait, I keep saying this, but it's from what, the city, the West Point city or whatever, right?
Yeah, north central Nebraska.
Yeah, wow. He's a great speaker. He's so personable. I like the moment with his kids. I thought was super cute. He's just, man, that guy is just on fire. Damn. That was just such an amazing pick. Holy shit.
Yeah, he also, I think, has adopted a lot of the things that you've been advocating for on your stream in terms of like reclaiming patriotism.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've seen here, Stephen, is that they have been chanting USA, USA, waving American flags.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Also, like, just one trend I've noticed is that the Democratic Party seems now to be more of the big tent party, whereas the Republican Party has really narrowed its tent. You've seen with both conventions.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the somehow, right, with the white shirt, it's funny. It reminds me of somehow the Democratic Party with that white guys for Harris and shit. They took back the White Lives Matter thing, and I think they did it really well in terms of like having white people feel like they're a part of the coalition again, and we're not on that ultra cringe id poll shit. And the Republicans are, as much as people might disagree with me, as much as some radicals might disagree with me, the Republicans were doing a better job at leaving behind a lot of like the weird racism and sexism. And boy, did Kamala just bring that out of them immediately again. Holy shit. And I think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad play. And wow, they're just floundering so much right now. Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see, Stephen, did you see the part of President Obama's speech where he talked about crowd size?
Oh, yeah, I saw the clip. Yeah, the clip went viral. Yeah, the clip was funny. Yeah.
Republicans are not happy about that. They're saying that it was very uncivil, very juvenile of the president, the former president, to say that. Trump himself is not happy. He's been ranting about how nasty, they're so nasty to me.
They stooped so low.
Yeah.
How could they stoop so low?
Yeah, so we're still seeing that persistent call for toning down the rhetoric and being very kind to Republican politicians. So
Yeah,
sorry
I'm good. I
say
want to
that-
see more. Yeah, I just want to see more of the on the attack energy, and I feel it. I feel like it. Yeah, the on the attack energy is just so much better. And it's not like, let's be real. Also, I don't need to tell you guys. We're speaking to the audience. But like the Democrats have not even remotely approached the level of shamelessness that Republicans have been playing at for the past like 8 years. We're not even close to that circle of hell yet. So the idea that, wow, so much for civility politics because you guys made this joke, it's not even. It's so stupid. Yeah.
You said you really like Wallace. Was he your number one pick? I was rooting for Josh Shapiro.
No, I didn't really know anything about any of the VP picks. I've just never really cared that much. And then yeah, I've seen him speak a few times now. And yeah, he seems pretty cool. Yeah.
It's really about vibes, and he's like, people can relate to him. That's the main thing. He's a genuine guy. Authenticity is really the way to go. That's why so many people like Jasmine Crockett too. I say,
Yeah.
Congresswoman from Texas.
And supposedly he doesn't use a teleprompter either. It's all off the cuff or memorized.
It wouldn't surprise me. He's either very, very good at utilizing the prompter, like just the way that he speaks, or yeah, he does the. I mean, I know he was a coach. Was he a teacher?
What was that? Sorry.
I know he was a coach. I wonder if he was a teacher. Because for speech class, if you like do speeches in class, they tell you just have like a note card, like you memorize points and then you just speak.
I don't know how to coordinate.
He was a social studies teacher. Heck
Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's yeah.
They're asking us if you want to walk around the convention with us.
You know, if you want to carry me around a little bit, sure, why not? Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. No, can you just like
Good
hold up a
destiny in
picture?
here.
Here's I'll hold up a laptop picture of Steven.
This is
and you'll hold up the
We have
MP3
captured your
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah.
Put it in here.
All right. Well, give us a minute.
Yeah.
We'll just put the mic here, and then you guys can just like walk him around, and Steven can make little commentaries.
All right. So is he gonna? He's gonna be able to see if you see anybody in the background or something, because there's like famous people that you would recognize everywhere here, Congress members and members of the media. So if you see somebody, yell.
You guys can give DVD a little tour.
Let's do that. This,
I know.
I still think
I have good ideas. Just admit
I'm
it.
gonna try to find a picture of him. Though, I think it'd be hilarious. Just so I hold my phone up the whole time with a picture of Steven. This is who you're talking to.
It's like the
I don't have
this has
any.
been
I have
dope,
no
man.
video feed from you guys, just in case I'm supposed to.
All right.
He's
We're
working on it. Supreme's working on
We're
it.
working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you're,
I
I don't know what you're
think
using to
it's-
broadcast, but if you're trying to broadcast simultaneously to Discord and another program, if the other program is OBS, you can start a virtual camera and then broadcast that onto Discord, but you won't be able to do it on both. Just in case that's what you're trying to do. But
Yeah. If you have a virtual cam for the audio video feed, then you can put it anywhere. Yeah. I hope you can come to one of these in the future, Stephen, because they call us partisan hacks. They have no idea what a partisan hack looks like. These people are so excited about the Democratic Party, man. I love it. These are my people, and they make us look like amateurs.
yeah. Well, it's good. There's a lot of energy. I see. Hopefully oh, nice. I got video now. Nice.
It's exciting, man. It's a lot of fun, and the patriotism is on full display too, which is super cool. I think we're moving here in a moment.
So, Steven, while we're waiting, I was listening this morning to you and Pisco arguing with a gentleman about Trump v. United States. He went to law school. It seemed like the debate lasted about 6 hours.
Oh, nice. A
Did
short
he-
debate.
Yeah, did he end up moving you on that? I haven't had a chance to listen to the whole thing.
I very much appreciate the conversation, and that guy emails me a lot of good stuff that I really appreciate. But no, not at all.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Let Steven know he's going to lose us on audio for a minute. Like, switch over audio, so he's going to be right back in.
You're going to lose this on audio for just a second while he switches sources over.
Okay.
It's I'm going to do.
We need to go and find. We need to run. We need to run and find Hassan, guys. We need to tell him that we made him. Imagine if we were on a. This would be an actual real life harassment campaign, so I would never do it. But imagine if they put us like on an iPad and then they put us on like a Segway and we were chasing around people at conferences. Do you think they would assault us? Would they attack our Segway? That would be absolute fucking Kino. I'm coming for you.
Dad?
Hi, what's up?
Can you hear it? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, we're just making sure the audio is
All right, cool. And now audio.
So
We have a still photo of you that we'll carry around. So
Okay.
Good, with me.
Oh,
So
we
you
lost
are-
you.
you're-
This is the only professional picture that he has, as far as I'm aware.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I still think that. He might have won.
This will be funny.
This would be.
Can you hear us now?
I can
Or
hear
see
you, but
us
I
now.
lost. No, I can't see you.
Okay, give me just a second.
All right. It's cool to walk around. So this will be a lot of fun once we get it going. It'll be worth it for sure.
We don't need it.
Can you turn off your camera? That might help.
Camera feed to us.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
But okay.
Shut down your screen for a second.
Just the camera.
Oh wait, watch stream. Wait, I wasn't doing that before. Hold on.
Okay. So hopefully you can still hear us.
Okay. Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, you can see us. You can hear us. Cool. All right, this is gonna be worth it. Trust. It'll be fun.
Okay, we'll see.
This is how you're at the DNC, bro.
Take it to the Young Turks first.
Yeah, it's true.
You want to say hi to Jake?
Walk times.
Yeah, show me Jank. Show me Jank. I need to say hi to my good friend.
All right. Oh, thank you. Cleaned up well.
You wanna do the? I'll hold that and you button your top button.
Button?
Stand up and walk around.
As we move, yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I can leave the water here. All right, I've got precious Stephen in my hands.
Wow. Try not to shake me
CYT
so much. I'm feeling a little sick. Okay, hold me gently, like you would a young child.
Got you, my baby bird.
Well, no, it doesn't feel. Okay, oh, I see how you guys are doing. Okay, yes, I am in your hands. Thank
You're
you.
on a little Bluetooth.
I got you.
Yeah,
You
this
look
is
very
90%.
beautiful.
This is your presence.
I see
This
me.
is your presence.
I got you.
I got you.
This will be worth it. We go this way first.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Let's go.
TYT.
This way.
TYT's just back here.
Good.
We'll be able to hear us. Just turn around.
Yeah.
In the picture gate yesterday.
Oh, you're close.
Well, that's the way it works.
Well, yeah. This is where TYT. We saw Jake out on the phone, so maybe we'll see him as we walk around. He's here. We know that. Go back that way. Kind of a big loop this way. Do we want to show him the media?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
let me see who else.
So this is.
Dying.
It's kind of choppy.
I would tell him to just use our YouTube video. It's going to be,
Is it dying?
it's just super choppy. So tell him to at least max this out because it's going to be super choppy the whole time. It's just kind of.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a delay. Just let him know. Yeah.
Okay, so it might go
I'll
in
watch
and
you.
out.
Yeah,
Just
that's
bear
good.
with
I'll just turn the video off
Here.
on this, and I'll just watch you guys on the
I can't do anything on the computer. Just tell him.
Yeah, we're away from the computer, so it's whatever you can do on your end.
Don't worry, I got you. I'm watching the YouTube stream. It's crystal clear.
Awesome. This is the media row where all the media tents are, so we'll just take you through here and check it out.
Yeah, sure. So here, kill the video on this too, because it's causing the audio to lag as well.
Kill the video. They can't do it. Neither of them are able to do it.
And now our stream is.
Stream is gone.
Uh-oh.
You sure? Or is it just your phone?
I'll check Pondering directly,
check
but
mine?
I think it's. Nope.
Is it replaying?
I'm used to like the distractions.
No, it's
Hold on.
okay.
Sorry, hold on. We think our stream might have died, so bear with us. Sorry.
Your stream's still on. Your stream's still good.
Wait,
Okay, we're good. Okay.
My favorite.
You got Newsmax, the voice of America.
Is Newsmax? Is that the
Crooked media. I know the combination, thankfully.
Nazi people?
Oh, I think they heard that. I
Oh.
think they heard that.
Oh my God! You should take me back there.
redemption that I wasn't aware of.
Oh, okay. We got. I see. Okay, cute. Very cute.
We are.
Having conquered area.
Yes.
Got Fox News over here.
Oh, very great. Very great. Mainstream trader news. All right. I didn't see a Confederate flag at their booth. Why they forget them at home? What do we got?
I think they brought it originally, but told to take it down.
Yeah. They don't use it. So.
We're about to say. Yeah, this is the content area, right? So maybe we should go through here and then hang out in front of you. Okay. So we're gonna go to where the content creators are, because we're not officially here as content creators. We're here as traditional media. But outside here, we may see some recognizable faces.
The real movers and shakers.
The real
Yeah.
movers and shakers
there's
of the
Jake.
YouTube world.
Oh, Jake. Jake. Hey. We've got our buddy Anthony on audio here and video. You want to say hi, maybe?
Hey Destiny, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jank. Hey, it feels good to be on. It feels good to be on the same side on some of these Piers Morgan debates for once.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. And on our chances of winning, you're welcome.
Jack's got a little something right here.
Are you ready to say thank you to Jake?
Thank you
For
so much,
pushing
Jank.
Biden out,
I
Stephen?
can't believe I ever doubted you, and it's because of you. It is exclusively you and the Young Turks that pushed out Biden. Now we have all this energy, and you know what? You know what, Jank? Listen, if you want to make fun of me and laugh, if we win the election, I don't care. You can do a whole episode, okay? Roasting me for it. I don't give a fuck. All right, you're good. All right.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that. And I wouldn't say 100, maybe 99, 98% are
Okay.
credit.
A little
No,
humble. That's
seriously,
good.
look, man, if I help 1%, I'm happy about it. But look, put all that aside. Yeah, we're on the same team. Let's go Harris Walls. Let's win the election. Let's kick Trump's ass. Let's go win this thing. You know?
Feel the love.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Sounds
we don't want
good.
to keep him. Any last
Yeah.
words? for
Have
our
fun.
friend here?
Yeah, good luck. Have a good time, and yeah, it looks like an awesome event.
All right. We'll see you here next time.
We got a little sorry to catch you.
No problem. No problem.
Take care. See, we found him. That's so cool. Hold on, we got. Who's this? I don't know. He's talking. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. You know who gets stopped the most is Mr. B. He is a rock star here, dude. It's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Very nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, yeah, they were forced to watch my videos in government class.
That's cool. I imagine there aren't very many events that you like go out to, are there?
Probably not a lot of events you go out to.
No, yeah, I'm definitely out of my comfort zone here. So
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. All right.
We got our buddy Destiny. You can just talk to there, but he's on the camera.
how you doing, Steven?
Hi, what's up?
Hi, what's up?
You know Adam, right?
I don't think we've met.
Oh, you never met Adam
No,
before?
no.
He's on Midas Touch.
We met at the Ohio thing. I work for a company called
Oh,
Midas
yeah.
Touch. We go to Trump rallies and debate Trump supporters.
That sounds borderline
He debated
suicide.
Mike Lindell.
Or I guess you could probably do it. Yeah, okay, yeah. I feel like I would probably get assassinated if I did one of these, but
Yeah, dude, you watched one of my clips once where I turned a MAGA supporter on Ukraine, and I explained to him like putting America first is how you fund Ukraine.
oh, I do
Something
remember.
else,
I remember watching this. I do remember watching this. Yeah.
Yeah. We try to take a strategy where it's like we're not assholes to them. We treat them like people. and I think it's more successful.
Could you explain that again to Steven?
Yeah, no kidding. No, I feel like I've learned a lot of the techniques from you. I've watched you debate, and you talk to people in such a unique way. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I am very unique. We do a little bit of
You
everything.
meet them. You guys could go out and do top bad cop.
Yeah, you should have been here, man. Though it's great.
Maybe next
Are you
time we'll
getting
see.
FOMO? You get FOMO.
Do what? Promo?
You get FOMO.
Oh
FOMO.
no, I do too much shit to ever have FOMO. But
Since they've never got a picture before, I'm getting a picture of Matt and Steve.
yeah, go ahead. I'll photobomb him. Throw me in the back.
I did it.
No, it was great job, guys. We have like 5K lines, so we're about.
Yeah. Okay. Go do your thing. Okay. Keep walking.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hi, what's up? I don't know who I'm talking to.
Here. Yes, we're streaming right now. Oh, you're streaming. Oh,
We got Denver here. Do you want to talk to Gus?
What do you want to promote? Hi, microphone. There's a mic in there. Hi. Keith Edwards. Nice to see you. YouTube channel. Keith Edwards is my YouTube channel. Type in my name. You know, there it is.
Have you been making videos on Occupy Denver?
I used to, yeah.
I'm on there too now. Yeah. Good to meet you. You're doing awesome, man. You're a Twitter god.
Man, oh, man, talking to Destiny, looking for your Destiny. Yeah, yes. We somehow called
Wait,
I can hear you. He's right there.
Yeah. You know the live streamer, political commentator Destiny?
Yes.
That's who we have on watching, and he's on the Bluetooth.
I know, like
Kind of weird.
people that have like more sophisticated setup. Yeah. Yeah, all that stuff you were saying earlier, you gotta say to him. Yeah. Fuck you. No.
wow. Okay, I see how it is. Save the fighting for after the election, guys. Jesus. All right.
True. Why don't we head to the blue carpet area?
You want to put the ramp?
The ramp? Yeah, you'll drop.
Okay.
Can we show them the floor?
Yeah, let's use a different thing. All right. Let's see. Look, Michael. Hang on.
On the floor here? What's that? 200 level.
Somebody said use the stream audio, not the Discord audio. If I use the stream audio, I'm not gonna be able to respond to what they're saying on a Discord. It'll take me like 5 seconds of delay because it's a bit delayed.
So we're gonna show them upstairs, give a peek inside.
Well, we'll go to the blue carpet area first.
Oh, yeah.
All right, hold on. We're moving. Thank you, Destiny, for hanging out, man. We'll be the new spot in a second.
No problem.
Gotta get out here.
We're just make that.
Well, it's okay. You guys just move slowly. It's fun.
Rush.
You know, we're not a rush. This camera. Okay, let's be here. This
Like they were on. You watch them last night on stage. The cameraman's like,
We're going to the blue carpet area.
It's like 200 level, so we can go upstairs, right?
But what don't we want to just hang
I
out?
want to do the blue
Oh, the nuclear.
Good. Do you need to guide you?
Or do you want to go right up? Should we go right up to show them the dance floor?
Yeah, I think we should go up here.
Great.
Destiny, what
We're
do you
going
want
to
to
Jaya Paul right here, so see if we can introduce ourselves.
Oh. There, I'll see if we can get her for an interview.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to try to mix that. That'd be kind of weird. Okay, yeah, I'll let you do your thing. So, well, let's wait for you. I'll take them over the blue carpet. Okay.
Asked to see the crowd to disprove the AI accusations. Who? There's nobody serious is making those accusations.
Walk right Democrats. I thought you were going to say something.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. We were just going. So that was Pramila Jayapal. Did you see that, Destiny? I don't know if you recognize her, but we just wanted Josiah to try to talk to her to try to get her to come over and do an interview later.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, she's chairwoman of the Progressive Caucus. Pretty big deal.
Okay, that's cool. Very nice. Nice picture. Okay, very cute.
Anything you wanted to see in particular?
I have to move closer to hear him.
No, don't do it.
Okay. This is the blue carpet where people are doing like interviews. It's their version of the red carpet. So we saw pretty cool.
Are there any other I don't know, are there any other big things we should see before we're done chatting? Do you think there's another big any area you want us? Can you show us like where the speeches are happening, everything? Are we able to look into there or?
We're going to go right now up to the second floor to take a look inside the convention hall. So we'll go right now.
Oh, also, do you guys have any guesses on who the secret speaker block is for tonight?
I think Beyonce performing. What do you
Okay.
think?
It's going to be Pence. It's going to be Pence speaking. He emailed me. He let me know. So be ready for that, okay?
Oh, Mike Pence.
I think it's going to be Beyonce and Taylor Swift doing a duet. Obviously, yes.
Just the national anthem. Yeah.
Yes, that would be what. Yes, if they sing the national anthem, if Beyonce and Taylor Swift show up and sing the national anthem, that's it. Democrats win the election. Every election in perpetuity. Yep, 100%.
All right, let's go up so you can.
Yeah, let's
You
go
can
up
finish.
this way.
All right, we're going to take you inside the convention hall now, right? So bear with us.
Oh my God. Staircase, I can get into that.
Okay.
Escalator. Hey.
Ah,
See how popular Mr. Beat is?
I see, yeah. Is there a way to get rid of this rocket ship thing? I don't
We're-
ever need
we're
to see
almost
this
there,
or
don't
ever
worry.
want this ever on Discord. Rocket ship for suggested. I don't ever need this. Christ, is so fucking annoying. I keep thinking it's the
We're kinda
microphone
just
button.
cruising the halls, looking for people we recognize and inviting them to come on our stream. So it's kind of on.
Somebody asked, what's the point of these events? Is it all just photo ops? People seeing each other in real life is a good way to make connections because cold openers on emails don't always work, especially if you're like kind of like a more mid-tier.
So this is the basketball arena for the Chicago Bulls. Normally.
Very okay.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna,
like,
once
obviously if you're
Mr.
really
Beat gets
famous,
up
like
here,
if
we're gonna
Obama-
peek inside and show you what it's like. The whole.
Sounds good. If Obama is like emailing you, you're going to respond. But for like kind of like mid-tier commentary people or for mid-tier like political people, like making a face-to-face meet and then getting a card or sending an email afterwards is like a really good way to network with people.
You go down one.
Why aren't you there? I got a lot of stuff I want to work on at home, and I have no idea what my guarantee for content would be over there. And the idea of like taking a 4-day break right now is way too spooky to me. Uh-oh. I think we lost everything. How did the PC build go? I think I have it up, or it's done. Everything is done. It's just sitting back there. I just need to install Windows on it and then move some cards into it and then redo all my shit. Why is it spooky? I just have like a backlog of stuff I want to get through right now. I have to finish this J6 bullshit. I have to finish going through all that Israel content. And then there's this other stuff I want to read. And the idea of just taking 4 days of not making progress on any of that is, yeah. Damn, did all their shit die? Did you install that new audio interface yet? For my computer? Yeah, I've been using this. Oh, shit. Up next, house clip. Any update on the Sam Harris talk? That's tomorrow. I don't know why you're asking, though, because that's... I don't know of how long. It could take them months to air shit. I don't know how long it takes Sam Harris's team to turn around content.
Now it's Dr. House.
Okay.
Oh, hey, I can see you guys now.
Oh, you're back. Okay, cool.
Your stream's dead, though.
Whoa. Did you get to see any of the inside? Did it cut out before we went inside?
Oh, it cut out completely on the inside. Maybe it's like Faradayed.
Damn. Okay.
Have you thought about hiring a low mid-tier content creator as a DDG? Please
Well,
don't.
supposedly
Don't
we
ever
have
say
a member
DDG.
of
It's
Congress
DGG.
waiting for us to do an interview, so we're kind of rushing down there. So you can
On
let
the-
us go if you want, but we appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully, you got to see some of the DNC.
Yeah, sure. We can chat again tomorrow. See if any new updates happen, and yeah.
You don't want to talk to me.
Okay, well, I guess they want us. We'll stay until we get to the setup. Okay, sorry, Stephen.
No, you're
Early
good.
caller.
All right, we can chill.
Just in case we run into anybody in the hall.
Sure thing. Sounds good.
I made focus of because I wanted my focus.
We can cover different events for you. Me having an on-the-ground reporter doesn't really do too much for me, I don't think. I guess unless they can go and get me like long-distance interviews, maybe. I don't know.
What do you think?
I think it's awesome.
Oh, Ryan, it's just basic. So you got to be
Not sure what Congressman is talking.
Oh, is tonight the last night? Oh.
He already said it was. He just said full cream.
Oh shit! They have to do like a whole new stream. I just remembered.
Oh, John. Really?
Fucking YouTube.
Right, it's different. They're talking about Paul Ryan. That's what they were talking. Former Republican Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
Wow, that would be huge.
It would be.
I'm still banking on Beyonce.
I think it's going to be Beyonce and Taylor singing.
Well, the way people are tech illiterate,
National
that might help with
anthem.
interesting interviews. Well, right now the reason why it's probably fucked is because they're trying to live stream it. Live streaming is just very, very, very challenging. I'm sure they're capturing good like content that they're locally recording and stuff.
Yeah, Say goodbye and say thanks to Steve.
Thank you,
See you,
Stephen.
Stephen. Bye.
We appreciate you,
I
brother.
love you guys. Be careful.
Thanks for joining.
Okay. Stay safe. Don't die.
Next time.
Stay safe. Don't die. I probably shouldn't say that when they're walking through the convention. It sounds a little ominous. Okay. Would you attend these types of events in the future? Sometimes. It just depends on what's going on or how much content I think I get out of it or who I think I'm able to like converse with. What if they do die now? Rip. You say watch your back. 1 sec. Ooh. Anyway, this idea, Kino. There you go. Somebody mentioned the step up in house basis or something. Why I'm opposed to that. The stepped up in basis, it doesn't really relate to the business idea as much. For houses, you tend to pay like continual taxes on them based on the total value of the property. That's just how you do it for houses. For capital gains or for investments, it's not really. We're not talking about like a tax on a house. Isn't like you're not paying tax on like the realized or unrealized gain of a house. It's a different type of thing. No one would borrow anymore, though. What? I think people would still borrow. Yeah, Reacher, I've got it. I did it a long time ago. Thank you. Best financial advice take. It's always boring shit. Max out your 401k, your IRA contribution. Those are your freebies. Oh, and make a budget. If you're having money issues, number one is always making a budget. It's always like pretty standard advice. Stay the fuck away from credit cards. You should never float a balance on a credit card, basically ever. Don't do it. Not a good idea. Is this a real tweet? Now give me your most unhinged financial advice. Take out the maximum amount of student loans you can qualify for at a subsidized interest rate and reinvest all of it into broad borrowing funds in the market and pray to God that you don't get fucked in a huge crash and then have to pay your student loan debt off very quickly. I can see it causing interest rates to go up, as well as pose a challenge to the Fed to find a way to balance the loan rate changes. What about taxing the leveraged amount on those loans instead? I don't understand. How many people are securing their debt with totally unrealized gains? Is that like super common? For personal expenditures? I don't think you can use student loan money on anything other than college. It goes straight into your institution, right? How do you get it liquid? Is it different than when I did it? When I was in school, they just deposited that money right into your fucking bank account. Am I making this up? I feel like that's what I remember. You just got that money cash. That was crazy. My first year in college, like Pell Grants and shit, you just have like all this money in your bank account. It's like, hello. They do deposit in cash? Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Say you have a zero cost basis stock, you take out a loan and pay tax on the new value. 2 years into the loan, your company is worthless and you default on the loan. If the bank writes off that loan amount, you then get taxed on that forgiven loan amount again. Or the bank doesn't forgive it and you still owe that money, but you also paid taxes on a value that is no longer there. Seems weird to me. Well, you have no credit cards? I have 4, but I pay them off every single month. The bank writes off that loan amount. You then get taxed on that forgiven loan amount again. You just write rules for it. Fuck off. There already have to be some rules written for this because there have to be rules written on the other end, right? Say, like, what happens, for instance, is there a margin call if I secure debt with a security that depreciates in value? Like, let's say, for instance, that I have $1 billion in stocks, and then I get a loan for, $500 million. And let's say the market crashes or the stocks I invest in crash, and now they're worth, $200 or $300 or $400 million. Do I have a margin call now from the people that I borrowed money from? And now I'm forced to liquidate? Oof. Some of my positions on my super depreciated stock. Yeah, I don't know how they could write rules for it though. I think it's fair though. I think you can be narrow enough that like if you are securing debt for personal expenditures, it should be on something that you have the amount of debt that you can secure should be a tax basis amount. I think that's fine. Before you became wealthy, would you say that you'd have been able to trust yourself with using credit cards properly? Yes, using credit cards properly is 100% a knowledge information thing. No person ever has to use or destroy their financial self with credit cards ever. That's a myth. That's a myth that middle class people say when they're trying to imagine what being a poor person is like. But there's no reason why you have to use credit cards at any point in time. I was homeless for a month. I almost lost my house between jobs. And I never went into credit card debt. I just never got it. I figured if I'm going to lose it, I'm going to lose it. Why the fuck would I long-term fuck myself with debt like that? Yeah. It builds credit, though. Who the fuck cares? You can build credit, but building credit is never, ever worth floating huge credit card balances. Ever. Never. Anybody that tells you that is immediately, it's a middle class person. Middle class people love to live in a lot of different worlds. They like to pretend they're poor and they like to pretend they're rich. So they live like poor people, but they give you advice like they're rich people. Middle class people are just the most fucking retarded. They're just bad people. They're bad humans. Middle class people are objectively the worst people that live in our society. Wealthy people are the best because they're wealthy. Everything about them is better than the average person. And poor people are the best because they've got to make the best do with their lot in life, and they work the hardest jobs, and they're warriors. Middle class people enjoy enough luxuries from the wealthy to be worthless, soft losers. Okay, but they work enough to be, and they're not high enough. They're just bad. Everything the middle class people, fuck all the middle class. It needs to be brought down. But anyway, anytime somebody tells you some bullshit on, well, you should do this to build credit, don't ever float balances. Don't ever float 24% interest rate. Don't ever do that. The people are like, oh no, you have to maintain 30% of your credit outstanding every single month for credit utilization ratio. No one cares about that. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. You should, if you can, get a secured credit card when you're 18, or maybe you can even earlier. You can get a secured credit card, pay it down, and you can get a credit card and pay it down. But if you get a credit card, you have to pay it off every month. I don't know if you're floating balances on credit cards, you are on the road to financial ruin. You just are. Yeah, you are on the road to financial ruin.
Hello?
Hi. I have no idea what we're talking about, but...
Oh, I just wanted to talk about really embarrassing details of your personal life.
Okay, well, just to be clear, okay? Your mom's only saying this shit now because I turned her down, okay? She wanted a long-term relationship. I said I wasn't ready for it. So anything you've heard from her is not true. You turned my mom down? No, I'm just kidding. Well, okay, what I mean is that I'm pretty sure we agree on most stuff, so I have no idea, like, what this conversation is going to be like, so...
Okay, well... I wanted to play devil's advocate. I also like I do have.
You pay
some
the statement balance, not the full balance. Just pay the full balance. Why? Just pay the full balance.
And I know a lot of like Jews have concerns about some stuff. So basically, what I wanted to talk about were the issues that and concerns that American Jews have with sticking with the Democrat Party after the crazy surge in anti-Semitism and the shit going on in Israel and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because I've never in my life seen so many Jews, like in Canada, almost every Jew I know is voting conservative now, even very left-wing Jews. And I think it makes much more sense in Canada. In the United States, it feels more like 60-40, but it's still a big shift.
Sure. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. First, we need to be clear. When we're talking about Jews, are we talking about Israeli Jews, or are we talking about diasporoids? Because there's going to be way different concerns for both groups of people.
I would say, but what you mean, like Israeli Jews in America?
Like Jews that have a vested interest in what's going on in Israel. So people with either citizenship or family that live there that have very strong, or just diasporoids, people who are like, oh, I'm Jewish, but they don't live in Israel. They have no attachment to the place or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm talking about both.
Okay, well, they're going to be different. Yeah. I think they're going to be two very different groups.
There's going to be some differences. I agree, especially in a place like the United States where there's larger differences between those two groups.
Okay.
Than in Canada, but I still think overall, I still think overall, like a lot of the concerns are similar.
Okay.
Okay. So what's like the biggest concern that you think most Jews have, like when it comes to voting for Kamala Harris?
Are these intelligent Jews with a good understanding of geopolitics in the world, or are these just an average retard who has issues navigating the
Your
world without
average-
stumbling into
your
a
average-
dresser?
Your average Joe Moses, you know?
My guess would be for the average Jewish person who is reluctant to support the Democratic Party or the left-wing establishment is they're probably worried that they're not going to have the strong commitment to the security of Israel going forward like a conservative might, that the left isn't going to have as hawkish a commitment to Israel's safety and security as the right might.
Okay. And you think that this concern is silly, right?
Kind of, for more expanded reasons, yeah.
Okay. Well, why? Okay. Well, what are some of those expanded reasons?
I think Israel's biggest threat right now is its unwillingness to deal with the Palestinian problem. And until that happens, the country is on a path to destruction, and it will be destroyed. And they will have nobody to blame but themselves for it. And having external pressure pushing you to deal with things is more of a help than having somebody who wants to enjoy like the delusion that it's not a problem until 10 or 20 years from now it becomes like irreconcilable, and then everything gets fucked, I think. So having somebody that's pushing Israel towards figuring out a solution to that problem, like reconciling the differences or whatever it takes, I think is crucial for Israel, I would say.
Okay, well, I would say that most American Jews, I'm pretty sure we can confirm this with stats, if not, if I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure most American Jews are against Netanyahu and the current Israeli government. So I don't think that they mind there being pressure on Israel to change its course of action either in this war or just in a lot of the far right-wing policies that Bibi's been doing. But I think the concern is about some of the other realities, especially with some actions that Obama took that later kind of got flimsily supported by the Biden administration and now Kamala Harris, like the Iran deal, for example, which even quite middle left-wing Jews or just people who support Israel in general are concerned about because of Iran. The idea of Iran becoming nuclear is terrifying.
Sure. That might come down to a fact of the matter disagreement. My understanding is still this, and I could be wrong. So if my understanding changed, then maybe my feeling on it would change. But I thought that Iran was largely playing within the boundaries of that nuclear deal, and that it was largely seen as being successful in preventing them from like making this huge, this huge adventure into like nuclear arms. But so in that sense, I would have said that the Iranian nuclear deal was good. But I mean, obviously, if people disagree, if they think, well, no, they were still building towards it or something, then and if that was the case, then I would say, okay, well, in that case, it was bad. But
okay, so there's been kind of like mixed. I've heard mixed things about Kamala Harris when it comes to Israel. Obviously, her husband, I think, is Jewish, and then her stepdaughter is like a pro-Hamas supporter. But then she's also said plenty of pro-Israel stuff. I know at the big DNC thing. I don't. What do you guys call it? That thing that happened last night.
The DNC speeches, yeah, the Democratic National Convention.
I wasn't sure if there was there's official name for it. That had a lot of stuff that featured Israel in general, and controversially. But I have heard that there was kind of like when Biden was the candidate, that there was I don't know if this happened a few months ago or if it was a year ago or exactly when it was. But did you hear that there was some kind of like coup kind of being not like I don't mean like a literal January 6th coup, but like like a subtle political coup within the establishment led by Kamala Harris that was kind of more anti-Israel, and that she's kind of like
no, absolutely not. Establishment party people in the United States, and basically every old person is pretty supportive of Israel. I've never heard anything different ever for that.
Okay, I'm gonna link you this article. Just like this is American politics is not my forte, so.
Okay.
It's not
link me.
Yeah, here I'll just link you. This is just like what I've heard from people. I've just heard that there's like mixed things.
Okay, hold on real quick. Oh, 1 second. Kamala Harris pushes White House to be more sympathetic towards Palestinians. Vice President Kamala Harris has been telling colleagues in the administration that she wants the White House to show more concern publicly for the humanitarian damage in Gaza, where Israel is locked in a bloody and prolonged battle with Hamas, according to 3 people familiar with Harris's comments. So this was on December 14th of last year. I don't think there's anything coup-ish or bad about this. I think that it's.
To be honest, I agree with all the things that she just said there.
Okay. Wait. So then, what's the concern with this or whatever?
Well, I think like the concern was that there was. It wasn't just that. There's a second article also that I linked, but just in general, she was pushing She was pushing for, I guess, Biden to be far more critical on Israel, when I think like he probably was the most critical of Israel, president since when Jimmy Carter or something like that. I think he was still quite fair. Like he stood up to Netanyahu a few times and all of that kind of stuff. So that seems, I guess, a little strange. To be fair, I'm to the left than most American Jews when it comes to Israel. So, but it makes sense that if you are very pro, if you support quite a pro-Israel argument as a Jewish person in the United States, that might bring up some concerns, I guess.
Wait, so what? So of this? I'm reading through this article. What is a concern with this last article, or?
Just about like that kind of argument the argument that she basically was starting during that time.
I think it's okay to be critical for Israel. I think that Israel, especially today, it can represent a significant liability to the internal political stuff in the United States, meaning if you back Israel or if you don't, it can have political ramifications for you, and it influences U.S. foreign policy in that we have a liability where if Israel conducts itself in a ultra unhinged manner in Palestine, there is bad blowback onto the United States and to our allies. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with being critical of Israel here. So unless I were to see statements of her saying something where she's saying things like, Israel needs to, have an immediate ceasefire and Hamas should be allowed to stay as the government and, Israel hates the hostages, or it gets more like radical like that, then that'd be problematic. But I think having Israel showing restraint, I think is probably pretty important, and having a public tone, you have to walk a very, very, very fine line, because despite what people think, the Jews are actually some of the, no offense, the most incompetent people in the world when it comes to managing media, at least over the past 2 decades. So yeah, it's a huge liability and a concern. I don't see any problems with that. I think it's things that people have to keep in mind, and I think it's very politically not art, and there's a word I'm looking for, but you should be keeping these things in mind. But if I saw like really problematic statements from her where she's like being like super harsh, or saying, making it seem like we're not going to support Israel or something like that, then that'd be something more to be concerned about. But yeah, just going through this article, glancing through this, doesn't seem like there's anything that I would be like, oh fuck, this is really bad, or I super disagree with her here.
Yeah, I definitely think there are some types of people that just think any type of criticism against Israel is just disloyalty, and that's that. And a lot of those people will just automatically vote for Trump in that situation. But I think the more logical arguments, I guess, against Kamala is that the Democratic Party has somewhat been enabled a lot of the more radicals within the far left that have participated in anti-Semitic stuff or are not being fair to Israel or said those things that you mentioned. So do you think that Kamala Harris has done enough to counter that?
I think that the Democratic Party has been fighting pretty staunchly against a lot of the crazy progressives. From my understanding and from the little I followed it, it seemed like that type of pressure and that movement was coming exclusively from young people at schools. And then maybe
really?
tanky. Okay. This was not coming from the Democratic Party. I'm trying to think if I saw
You still have some members of the party that have said really problematic things, like Rashida Tlaib.
I was going to say, I think Tlaib maybe, but AOC wasn't making comments for a long time. Bernie Sanders was pretty lukewarm on it. People disavowed him for it. I don't think you see very much coming from, they're 2 lawmakers, I think, the Democratic Party. And even at that, their comments are problematic, not full on pro Hamas crazy shit like the college kids. I think that was largely a college kids thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern that people have, we have that largely in Canada, where the Liberal Party here, the Centre Party, and the NDP are both somewhat, even though they're not extremely participating in those really radical narratives, they enable it and they allow it to happen, and they also create consequences for anyone dealing with it. Like for example, they allow people to wear masks at protests when that's against the law in Canada, things like that, and enables a lot of shitty things that happen when people are covered in masks. So I think that that's like the concern, that like the left are going to be, the term that they use to describe it is usually useful idiots.
Sure, and I mean that can be a concern, but this is the issue that I have when people make these arguments, and people do the same when it comes to like Trump, Harris in the United States. The issue that I have is that people will look at people will go into a room and they'll kind of see like cobwebs in the corner, and they'll say, oh, I don't really know about this room, it feels a little bit unclean, and then they'll go back into another room where they lower themselves into a hole that's like a porta potty used by a construction site for the past 10 years and live in like a sewer full of shit. And then you ask them like, what's going on? And like, well, I saw a couple of things in that other room that were questionable. I think that there are problems with far left activists, especially when it comes to very young people, especially when it comes to like crazy tankies and shit online. Like that's definitely true. Yeah. But the overwhelmingly the center left position represents far less of a threat to Israel's future than I would say the traditional right position in the United States. Like I would say that things like, you live in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that things like the moving of the embassy directly led to the Great March of Return, the border riots. Things like the Abraham Accords directly lead to things like October 7th. The right plays into the delusional messianic fantasies that far right Israelis have, that they can continue to ignore their problems and they just have to like keep pretending that everything's fine and they can just like do everything they want and nothing is going to go wrong. And I think that is the greatest threat right now to Israeli future, is that the West Bank settlements can continue, the Gaza Strip can be ignored, and everybody else in the region will eventually just roll over because who the fuck cares? I think that is the number one threat. Everything else like pales in comparison. Like the college tanky is nowhere near as much a threat to the average Israeli as a settler in the West Bank, in my opinion. At least people outside of like the clusters near the Green Line.
Okay, but those are more long-term consequences, right? Rather than like immediate consequences. To it.
Well, I mean, October 7th is in the past. I think that it's an immediate. I think that it is just. I think that the country is like the problem is like it's long term, but like long term when?
The immediate consequence of October 7th was caused by the pullout of Gaza, which was a peace deal, like a peace offering. Right?
No, I think October 7th. I think was inspired largely by, I would say, things like the Abraham Accords. When the idea that you can make peace with everybody around you and continue to ignore the population of Palestinians that are growing within your country and within the territories that you can have control over is just, it's untenable. Like people are always going to like try to draw attention back to themselves. Like the border riots were directly caused by that moving of the embassy. People were directly protesting that. And then, making more peace with more countries and seeing themselves like more isolated from the rest of the world, it's just going to become more militant and more violent.
But they wouldn't have had the power to do October 7th if they hadn't had control of Gaza, right?
Sure, but then I mean, like, what's the alternative then? There should have never been a pullout of the Gaza Strip?
I don't even know if I agree with this. I'm just presenting the argument. The alternative would have been to continue a military occupation of the Strip, and the more extreme side of that would be to continue to allow settlements in the area, since historically there have been Jews who have always lived in Gaza in the region, and they were ethnically cleansed from the region when they were pulled out.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I'm American at the end of the day. I don't really care, but that is the surefire 100% way for Israel to be destroyed as a country, and I would have no sympathy for them if that happens. Sharon was very smart when he pulled. The saddest thing about Sharon was the fact that he died of a stroke, because he also wanted to pull out of the West Bank too, and that's what Israel should have done. They should have set fire to every settlement, dealt with all the crying, screaming people as the IDF forced them out of their fucking villages and their stupid shit. And Sharon wanted to do that. I think there were 13 that he ended in the West Bank. He wanted to say, "Fuck it, we're moving, we're getting out of here," because this is a disaster for us, and he knew it, and everybody knew it. Even at 67, everybody knew it. But there's an infinite way to justify the infinite occupation of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. But here's there's a thing that's happened that I don't know if the world is aware of, and maybe I am overestimating this, but Israel so people say that like Jews are good at propaganda and all this shit. Israel didn't have to do propaganda up through the 60s, 70s, and 80s because the story of Israel was immediately sympathetic to the West. It's a democracy in a region of not democracies, and it's like a David versus a Goliath of like surrounding Arab states. And every single American that grew up in the Cold War grew up with that impression of Israel in their mind. And so it's an immediately, that's why every old person in the United States loves and supports Israel. But as people get older, what does my generation know Israel for? Well, they bully Palestinians, and I guess they kill kids in hospitals and shit. And that's it. That's all I know Israel and Palestine for. I don't know what the fuck else they do. I don't know anything about Egypt and Jordan and Syria and all this shit. Like, no one has any idea. So as people get older, as boomers drop off, like Israel's putting itself in a totally untenable position. And the microsecond the world opinion flips against Israel, that country is like fucked. Because the United States isn't going to sacrifice everything for a geopolitical ally. It's not worth that much in terms of like sacrificing political capital. So that's how I see it. Like,
is that there's also a totally different, like, I agree with you, but I think the concern is that we're in a totally different time where just because if Israel decided to just start doing all the things that you and I wanted to do, and pulled out of the settlements, pulled out of this, that it will never be enough because these groups all want Israel destroyed at the end of the day, right? So they just see pulling out of it as a way to weaken Israel, so a stepping ground to get Israel destroyed. And so they should just accept that Israel is at war with all of these groups and to just make it as strong as possible to fight those wars.
Yeah, but they're at war with groups in territory that they still occupy militarily. So it's like it's a hard, or at the very least, they control borders. It's just a hard, like if Israel pulled out and they were just the borders and then these groups were attacking, then in my opinion, it's a much easier
But
thing.
they're not just the borders, they're being funded by other countries like Iran.
Sure, yeah,
Like,
but
they're
so
not
what?
just
Israel
like
flies in
little
and bombs fucking Syria. Israel's flown in and fucking bombed Iran. Like, they don't, like, who the fuck cares? Like, they can do that, but they're different countries, so it's so much easier to put off
Do
the
you think it's
responsibility.
smarter for them to just continue with this like, kind of like tit for tat?
A little bit,
know,
yeah,
just-
but I think it would be easier to do that in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip if they weren't like occupying the area. That makes it so much. It makes it so much worse for the rest of the world. Like that's where the bulk of the resentment and the arguments come from. If it was like its own country, well, now they have a lot more responsibility to their population. And yeah, there's still going to be people that obviously want to destroy Israel for sure. But I think that a lot of the world's ire will begin to subside, or at the very least, you don't have as much moral authority to condemn Israel. That well, okay, well now they're their own country and they attacked Israel. Like what the fuck, right?
Yeah, I think like the fear is the idea that like there is an attitude within Jewish communities around the world that we keep offering peace deals, we keep making concessions, and it just makes her position weaker because at the end of the day they just want us destroyed. They don't want peace with us. We can't make peace with people who don't want peace with us. And so having these outside forces like the United States, who are constantly trying to basically like gimp us, like make us as weak as possible, blah blah blah, is very scary because it feels like that's going to lead to Israel's destruction as well. Like it feels like both options are going to lead to Israel's destruction, but one is more clear, you know, and that's far more terrifying.
Okay. I mean, somebody can have that position. I just think it's completely and totally fucking retarded. It's a completely indefensible position. Right now, the path that Israel's on is the path to destruction. They will be destroyed. Israel cannot live in both worlds of saying it's not apartheid, we're not doing anything, but also we are moving all our people in here and we kind of occupy it. And we want these people to be less violent because all they want to do is fight. But also, like, we're never going to try to do anything for any final, like, settlement or agreement of what's going on. Like, that. This is untenable. It doesn't work. It's not working. It's still not working. And there's an infinite amount of arguments that you can put up against trying to make it work, but fucking even Sharon's unilateral disengagement was like, this is good, like just leave, just fuck it and leave, and then if anybody attacks you, then you come back hard on them. I think that path is more it just can't be in both worlds, or kill them all, or genocide it, or ethnically cleanse them. Like actually say, okay, open up the Sinai, goodbye Palestinians, goodbye, bye, and you clear them all
almost every other country did.
Clear them out. That's fine. You can say that. Clear them out of the Gaza Strip. Then say that, and then go open up the what is it? The Allenby Bridge over to Jordan. Is that what it is? Yeah. Open it up. Say bye. You're out of the West Bank too. Bye, and then kick them all out of the West Bank, and then boom, then you're done. People will be mad for 10 or 15 years, and then you're over it. Okay. But right now, whatever's happening right now, it doesn't work, and it is leading to destruction. Right now is not working. This is not working, and I don't believe people that make the argument saying, "Well, this is why we have to do this." Blah blah blah. Bullshit. Right now, both sides want to fight. Israel loves the fighting because Israel keeps to continually, slowly, and very tactfully take over more and more of the West Bank. So it's benefiting all the settlers, everybody as well. So yeah, but
Do you think that there are any pro-security arguments for having the settlements?
Yeah, of course. Like the Green Line ones, I think. Yeah, I think you can make that, especially the ones that are closer to Tel Aviv. I think you can make that argument. Security is a legitimate concern for Israel, but Israel undermines its own argument that security is the biggest concern when you see like this huge expansion of settlements like near like south of fucking Jerusalem and shit. Like these aren't for security. Like what are you defending the Negev? Like what, come on. It's
something that was really frustrating for me. On October 7th, one of the reasons why I had a friend that was in a dumpster, like hiding from Hamas, waiting for 4 hours. And Israel's not a big country. So it was like shocking for the army not to show up for that in enough time. And it was because I think what was like 13 squadrons had been sent up to guard the West Bank, like to guard some like illegal settlements in the West Bank. And they just abandoned actual like legal Israel, like people who are like in Israel proper. So I thought that was like a pretty good argument about where the settlements lead to security being worse, right?
Sure.
Because now you have to defend way more land.
Yeah, arguably, yeah. But I mean, also settlements have their own defense forces too. Like, I don't think that they were all deployed up there because they were worried about some armed invasion. Yeah, I think that Israel needs to do a much better job at working more strongly with with Abu Mazen and the PA, even though they have their issues. I think that they need to work harder at strengthening the PA's position. And then, yeah, something has to be reached with the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, and use the U.S. as a bribe chip. I mean, it worked with Egypt. There has to be some way to work that, to navigate that. And there needs to be like real pressure on both sides. And right now, both sides have such a good incentive to not negotiate. And I think that's really bad.
Okay. So let's swap to the other side, to Trump, right? Because you made the argument earlier that the move of the embassy was like a really terrible decision for Israel itself. But what were some of the other things that Trump did that you think were bad for Israel and bad for the Jewish community, the diaspora Jewish community?
When I think of Trump and Israel, the biggest problem that I have, and I would have this if I was a smart Jew, my biggest problem is that Trump is like a grandparent or an uncle that gives you candy or buys you McDonald's all the time. So Trump will say things and do things that are like super feel good, and it does feel good, and it feels nice, and and he recognized our embassy, and we are Jerusalem, and that's really cool, and like the Abraham Accord, but he doesn't have like a grand vision for the future. He doesn't have a plan for that region.
They're like enabling, not helping.
Not only is he enabling, he is incredibly sensitive to the last person that spoke with him. And do you think that Trump is the kind of person that if the winds were to change on public support for Israel, that Trump would have some commitment to Israel as a country? Absolutely not. His mind would change immediately along with the changing political winds. Like he doesn't have any strong allegiance to that country.
That's the biggest concern I have about Trump is that he's like, he's just like a criminal, and that you don't know what he's going to do next. Like it feels like he could just swap.
Sure, it's not even such that he's a criminal. It's that he doesn't have a vision of the Middle East. He doesn't have the political background to appreciate or understand anything about the Middle East or Israel. And so his commitment is largely politically based. So if the political winds were to change, his mind would change right along with it. Absolutely. And he has no vision. I think
that's a very valid concern, like that a lot of American Jews who are voting for Trump should consider, especially that we know Russia right now is politically very against Israel. Were there any legitimate concerns about Trump's connection to Russia?
Legitimate? I haven't read through the full Mueller report, so I can't say. I don't think that if Trump had, if the strongest argument for Trump's connections to Russia are just that Trump would have done anything to win the election, but like the idea that Putin is going to be like controlling Trump or something I don't think that's true.
You don't think he's like some Russian puppet, right? Or do you think he can just like swap?
I think that if anybody showed up to show Trump like how he could win an election, I think that he would take it. Yeah, I don't think Trump has like an ideological connection to communism or to Soviet multipolarity or anything like that. I think you just like Putin because Putin told him things he wanted to hear, and because Putin might have been able to help him win the election. That's it. Okay, yeah,
that's fair. So I know you did that big trip to Israel. So what was like a lot of people, when are you posting the videos for that? A lot of people are concerned.
I've gone over a few, but the problem is that like I need like 3 to 6 hours to cover each day, and I'm just working on a lot of other stuff at the moment, and like election stuff is coming up. But yeah, they'll come out. I think they're all uploaded now at least. I just have to like watch them.
Okay, cool. So was there anything that really surprised you about actually being there, like on the ground, compared to just reading about it in theory?
Yeah, the first thing that was just really crazy to me was really the most important part of Israel that I don't think it's talked about enough is just how many Arabs live in the country of Israel and how little that's talked about. There are so many different points to bring up, like the idea of Muslim immigration and, jihading around the world. Like Muslims in Israel, Palestinian Muslims in Israel, Palestinian Muslim Arabs in Israel are probably the most religiously and ethnically primed to be terroristic people probably in the entire planet, if we're to believe the far-right rhetoric of Muslims are inherently violent, Arabs are inherently violent, people that feel displaced are always going to, rise up in terrorism, and they're not. For the most part, they're like really good contributors to society in Israel. Just the idea that like so much of the 2 of the 9 million people that live in Israel proper are Arab Palestinians, that's a really amazing number. And the integration of that population is nothing short of miraculous, given the history and given the region and given the religions. That's insane to me. So that was probably the biggest thing that I just didn't have a good like handle on, I guess, like psychologically before.
Did you manage to go to Haifa when you were there?
Haifa. No, we spent some time
up in the north.
No, we spent some time in Tel Aviv, but not. We didn't go up to Haifa. No, I think
So
go ahead.
Haifa's really what it's really known for. It's actually the only major city in Israel where Jews and Arabs, and Muslims and Christians, all live literally next door to one another. It's completely mixed. Whereas if you notice, I'm sure you noticed this, where there tends to be Arab neighborhoods or Christian neighborhoods, etc.
Yeah.
Even different types of Jewish neighborhoods, and so they all live really totally fine beside each other. And a lot of my friends, when I was going to move to Israel, I was going to live in Haifa. And a lot of my friends there was a day, I think it was a few days after October 7th, where Sinwar from Hamas kind of did this big announcement that all Palestinians, aka any Arab and Arab Muslim in Israel needs to rise up against their Jewish neighbor. And so everyone I know in Haifa was kind of a little scared, because they're oh, these guys, we get along so well with them. But I mean, so did a lot of our grandparents with their German neighbors, and then they all sold them out to the Nazis, right? So it was this anxiety, and then the day happened, no one got hurt that day, right?
For October 7th?
And no one actually wrote, yeah.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Yeah, it was the week after.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so no one, I think it was that Friday, but no one got hurt, there wasn't any big attacks. So I do agree with you that I think it's more miraculous, and it's not something that people talk about.
Yeah, and I think it's really sad because I think in Israel, since October 7th, I think they've made really big, can you say strides backwards? They've lost a lot of ground in terms of their relationship with their Arab population because all the work permits were basically canceled. They might still be, or suspended from the West Bank. Yeah, and even for Arabs in Israel, now it's harder to get hired for jobs or contract work or anything else because now a lot of Jews don't trust, Arabs coming to their house to work on or do anything. So, but...
Yeah. Was there anything about Israeli Jewish culture that you particularly liked?
I will say, and maybe this is just my bias as a left-leaning person, probably the most hopeless I think that I felt when I was there was when we started. I feel so bad saying this because the people they were nice people, but the most hopeless I felt was definitely talking to West Bank settlers. It was the day we were with Yishai. And it was before we went to Hebron. There's a small settlement, I think, to the north. I don't know what it's called, but we talked to people there, and they're friendly people. But just talking to them, I was like, wow. It sounds like my mom and dad. These guys are just. There's no way. This is it. Holy shit, this is intractable. For some reason, I felt like with every other group of people we spoke with, it felt like I could see a path forward. But man, with these people, it just absolutely felt like this is. Oh man, they're here to stay, and they'd never want to leave. And it's a really big.
Well, yeah,
deal for
there's
them.
2 types of settlers in Israel, right? They're settlers in the West Bank. The one type, which I think is actually technically the most common, is an economic settler, which they're often a little bit more religious, but they're primarily there for economic reasons because Israel is very expensive. They want to have a bigger family. They want to have a house instead of an apartment. And it's the only place that you can afford to live. Everyone I know who lives in the settlements is an economic settler.
Sure.
But then there's ideological religious settlers who are there for ideological reasons. They're the louder ones. They're the ones who usually kind of make a lot of the decisions and stuff. And they're ones who, and I'm guessing they're the ones that you spoke to. Yeah, because they believe in things like Judea and like Samaria and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know if they were super religious. They might even been kind of Americanish, but we were in one of the more out there settlements. But I am aware of what you're talking about. There's a lot of like green line settlements where it's just like, oh, the land is like super cheap. You're not like, you don't move in here and like on the daily you're looking out for Palestinians to shoot and kill. It's just like you just live. Like for a lot of these, if you were a foreigner visiting, you might not even be aware that they're beyond the green line. Like it doesn't even feel that way, but yeah.
Yeah. You know, a lot of them like will literally just say like, oh, like it's a privilege to live in Israel proper. I can't afford it.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
As simple as that. Okay. Someone wanted to ask me, do you think that there are any positives for Jews voting for Trump?
I mean, you have like the immediate gratification of a guy that seems to be supporting you, you know, full stop, I guess.
Try to think of like, try to steel man it a bit. Do you think you even can?
Trump is just a really, really, really bad leader. Hold on, let me think. The best way that I could steel man it would be if you thought you had a good vision, a good long-term vision for peace in Israel, and you just need somebody who's going to say, listen, I fully trust and believe in whatever you're going to do. Like, good luck, take the reins. Maybe Trump is your guy because Trump will let you do whatever the fuck you want. So let's say that you think that like, we need to get rid of Hamas 100,000%, and I need not to have these fucking Dems breathing down my neck doing it. Trump comes in. Trump's like, yeah, fuck it, do what you need. Like, thank you, God. You persecute your war in the way that you want. You kill everybody that you need to kill, and then you get out. You're like, okay, good. I don't know if I could have done it under Biden. Maybe like in a world like that, maybe Trump is your guy, but...
I guess to me the biggest argument is Trump would be much more harsh and take Iran far more seriously, because I was very frustrated with how the Obama administration dealt with Iran.
The problem is that like the issue is that Trump doesn't take any country seriously. Like he talks, but he doesn't do anything, right? People seem to forget this, but you are aware that for the first time in history, Iran basically attacked Saudi Arabia proper, right? There was the drone shit that they sent into the refineries. There were like the limpet mines that they did between the two countries. That like Trump didn't do anything. I don't think the U.S. did fuck all for that. We just sat and like whatever, like that was it. Like nothing happened. So the idea that like Trump is tough on Iran is not true. He doesn't do anything. Trump doesn't do anything foreign policy wise. He's not tough on anybody. We gave the world to the Taliban like under Trump. We didn't even include the Afghanistan government in those negotiations. It's just Trump does nothing foreign policy where he's tough on anybody. That's a fabricated like image that Trump has made for himself, and I don't understand how anybody can believe it. The foreign policy under Trump is so unbelievably weak.
Okay, what about Trump's connections to Nazis? I hear this all the time that Trump is a fascist or he has intense connections to fascists. He met with Nick Fuentes and groups that are explicitly anti-Semitic. Do you give credence to these arguments?
No, I don't think Trump is anti-Semitic, no. And I don't even think he wanted to meet with Fuentes. Trump lived in New York and did real estate for too long to be anti-Semitic. I don't think you can hit Jews that way.
It's not practical for
No, I think Trump just likes anybody who would tell him like, you're doing a great job and we support you. And Trump will like always listen to those people because he loves that. But I don't think Trump is like anti-Semitic, no.
But do you think he enables it? Right.
Does he enable anti-Semitism?
Yeah.
I mean, by virtue of the fact that far right people tend to be anti-Semitic, and he is kind of far right in some ways, and then center right in other ways. I mean, like his like hyper nationalistic rhetoric and his hyper isolationist rhetoric can lend itself towards anti-Semitism. But like, is he anti-Semitic? I don't think so. He could enable a little bit of it, but I don't think it's like a primary concern.
Okay, but you don't think that's like, if you were a Jewish person, you wouldn't vote based on that kind of concern?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I'd be looking at anti-Semitism on either side as a concern that I would have.
Really? Okay. So do you like, so I'm guessing you don't understand why a lot of Jews vote based on anti-Semitism or Israel.
Well, I mean, some people can. I mean, I'm assuming like as an intelligent person, if you're retarded, like you see anti-Semitism literally fucking everywhere. But I mean, I can understand why some people are retarded. I talk to conservatives all the time. I just don't think that anti-Semitism is a major driver right now for U.S. politics. I do think that when it comes to like the far left activists at schools, anti-Zionism very cleanly overlaps with anti-Semitism in a lot of different ways. And I think a lot of these protests can get can basically have an appearance of being anti-Semitic, but if you're a Jew, you probably don't give a fuck at the end of the day, and I can understand that. But the driver for these things and the powering like engine for these things for young college students is usually kind of this more kind of like Marxist / fuck America or fuck USA or fuck white supremacy bend. Basically, they're not really powered by
Yeah, but you can see
anti-Semitism.
how scary that is. Like, and especially when you look at what universities, these are primarily at these universities, the largest supporter and funder for Ivy League universities right now is Qatar, which pushes. It's known to push anti-Semitic and anti-Israel like narratives, and so like and that's very scary when that's being pushed on like the universities that pump out the future leaders. So Jews think, okay, maybe things are okay right now, but in like 10 to 15 years and 20 years, where are things going to be at? So they like people get concerned about, and they see what's happened in places like France or even what's going on just south of the border in Canada, and they get concerned that that's going to be happening here.
Yeah, I mean, that's an issue. But it's just, you can't fight that by trying to counter anti-Semitism. You have to counter like the fuck the West idea, because that's where the if you were to say they're anti-Semitic, that's where it springs out of. It's this like fuck the West attitude, basically. Because like in one way, progressives can be the harshest, like biggest supporters of anti-Semitism when it comes to protesting Israel against the Palestinians. But in other ways, progressives are your largest defenders and advocates when it comes to fighting against Nazis, because Nazis represent white supremacy. So it really just depends. Like they don't fall neatly or cleanly into anti-Semitic or pro-Israel or pro-Zionist lines. They just basically follow the pro-Semitic. Yeah, they just follow like the fuck America, fuck the West, or fuck white supremacist shit. And then a lot of times right now, especially with the current conflict, it ends up as being anti-Zionist, or basically all the appearances of anti-Semitism are there. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, a lot of the anti-Semitism that has been, for the longest time, I always heard, oh, right-wing anti-Semitism is dangerous, left-wing anti-Semitism is annoying but not dangerous, right? But as someone that lives in Toronto and Canada, I'm very aware that it's actually quite dangerous. There have been tons of violence and almost pogroms here, and like some really awful things and shootings. So I think it's pretty obvious that left-wing violence is dangerous, but the ideas behind it are what you mentioned, like this, like fuck the West, and also like these concepts of like anti-racism, structural racism, and just that entire ideology kind of laid the groundwork for anti-Semitism, because it can put Jews, because it doesn't consider Jews as one of like the privileged, it considers Jews as one of those privileged white minorities, and it can put it at the top of that food chain. I hear a lot of people, they'll be like, when they admit the truth, they're like, oh, well, they just consider Jews as super whites, which is just classic anti-Semitism in a way. So
sure, I mean, and again, that can all be true, but again, the source isn't anti-Semitism, because in Canada you had the same issues with all the violence and the people burning down like the churches, the Catholic churches and shit, and even the non-Catholic churches, the Christian churches, because of the burial, the mass graves bullshit, basically, that
I think Jews are just one of the symptoms of a larger problem.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm just saying that like it's not, anti-Semitism is not the engine powering these things. It's a broader like fuck the West, anti-Western thing that's powering a lot of it. I agree that a lot of it ends up looking like anti-Semitism, but that's just not the engine that's powering it all. For some people, it might be. For like if I were to go to Europe and I were to look at like large Muslim populations, for a lot of these people, I start to wonder. No, I don't wonder. Actually, I just fully assume that it's anti-Semitism. But in the West, when it comes to like the United States and Canada, at least,
well,
it's a lot of it.
Canada.
I can't speak to Canada at all. I can't co-sign your opinion or say you're wrong. I don't know enough about it. But just based on what I've seen, like especially with the native grave shit, it just seems like it's also still powered by the fuck the West stuff. That's what it feels like. But yeah, at least in the United States, I don't think anti-Semitism powers most of the white kids protesting. I think it's just a fuck America, fuck the West type of thing.
Okay, so I think that in some ways, that feels better as a Jewish person, because you can feel very much as a Jewish person, it can be a little scary because you're like this tiny population, and you're even tinier if you're outside of the United States or Israel, and you completely rely on all of the allies around you to support you, and so it can very much feel like an us versus them thing in this situation. So I think like understanding that Jews are just like I guess the anti-Semitism is just it's a symptom of a larger issue where we're not the only group that's being targeted by it, I think is something that is interesting to think about, and to focus on. It feels a little better, misery loves company.
I guess, sure, yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day,
so-
keep in mind as a good leftist or progressive or whatever, like I'm aware that like the intention doesn't really matter so much as the effect. So like
Yeah.
if your country ends up getting destroyed by a bunch of people that are all screaming, you know, and drooling and frothing at the mouth saying we're not anti-Semitic, we're just anti-Zionist, it doesn't really feel any better. So, but yeah, I mean, I understand. I'm just saying.
Do you not think that the Dems are a little responsible for how they have allowed a lot of these ideas to propagate, or they haven't been as harsh? Like it was mostly Republicans that were being particularly harsh with them on the university campuses.
I mean, I think you just have to be. You got to be careful. It just depends on what's going on. Like there's also like different groups at play here. When you say the Dems, like we're really talking about kids at school. Lawmakers don't really co-sign any of this. You've got like two. You've got like Rashid Tlaib, and you've got like the other Justice Dem. I forget her fucking name, but like. There's like two in Congress maybe that kind of are on this. That's it. But when it comes to the right, like it wasn't as big a deal because it wasn't international stuff going on, but you will never find a Democratic leader co-signing things like Charlottesville like Trump basically did. That would never, ever happen. So like on like a lawmaker, like large figure level, I think the left is way more opposed to that far right anti-Semitic rhetoric than the right is. But it's just that schools are just like really mind fucked right now, and they tend to be kind of left, but like I don't even know if I would consider Marxism or communist like left. They're just like illiberal. It's just like a whole different like basket of bullshit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually think that that's a good point about.
Like keep in mind that if you look at like all
have something as legitimate as that.
Yeah, like all the anti-Palestinian or like the fuck Israel protesters right now are protesting the DNC, not the RNC, right? The anti-Israeli protesters are So I mean, but.
Why do you think they seem to protest the DNC far more than like the RNC, or even like I saw them protesting Kamala Harris's own speeches as well, things like that. Like they tend to be much more critical of the left than they do of the right, even though the left agrees with them more.
I think there's a number of different psychological things that play into it, but they're just retarded. But it's probably more like a bigotry.
Is it just that like it's just closer to you?
Yeah, it's closer to you, so maybe you feel like you can have a bigger impact on them, but yeah.
Okay. Is the other question that I kind of wanted to ask would be, why do you think there tends to be this very extreme attitude with Israel? Like where I think like so many, and the reason why so many Jews get so defensive over Israel, if you actually talk to them, like they'll be like, oh, I'm advocating for Israel, blah, blah, blah. And if you actually talk to them in depth, they're like, oh, I hate this policy. I really don't like Netanyahu, and I didn't support that policy. Like they have nuanced ideas with it, but they get very defensive of the whole country because they think everyone else is doing the same thing, like trying to just destroy the whole country, and just not treating it like any other country doing shitty things sometimes. You know, like if the UK did shitty things or something like that. Like, why do you think there's like this black and white attitude associated with it in American politics?
I mean, it's a dangerous game you play as Israel, I think, when you identify as like a Jewish nation. You are in a way making yourself like the representative and the speaker and the cheerleader of the entire Jewish world. So it gets a lot harder to divorce Jewishness and Jews from Israel and Zionism. So I think that's basically what ends up happening, is that when Israel does something bad, it reflects on all Jewish people because Israel wants to be like the country that is the country for the Jews. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah, I think that's probably just a result of like the type of country Israel is. Not to say, I mean, it's like exclusive.
That's the case though, because we see that with other countries do that all the time, right? Where how many Muslim countries have identify as Islamic countries? They have a Muslim symbol in their flag, and we would all consider it quite bigoted and I mean, we rightfully consider it bigoted when Trump wanted to like ban people from those countries or judge people.
Yeah, but he still did it, right? People still do it. I mean, people do it all the time. They make assumptions about Muslims. But it's also different because Muslims can point to, progressive Muslims can point to all these different Muslim countries, right? And say, well, okay, well, you might say it's like that, but it's not like this in, over here. It's not like just because you don't like how they live in Iran now, like look what they were like before the revolution, or look at what it's like in fucking Morocco or Tunisia or whatever. It's not the same as how it's like in the worst parts of like fucking in the Houthis with Yemen or whatever. Like you can point to like different areas and you can kind of, but for Israel, it's just one country, right?
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But do you think that some of it lends, like the black and white narrative, like lends to some like anti-Semitic thought, like?
Yeah, it could, yeah.
credence to that?
A little bit, yeah. It's hard to divorce the two. There's such an overlap. Anti-Semitism can be an effect or it can be a cause. And I think in effect, I think anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are almost the exact same thing. Nobody will admit that on the left, but it's almost the exact same thing. It's just, but the engines powering these two, like how you get there can be two totally different things.
Do you agree that they're like the same thing?
In
So-
effect,
and by
but they're not
anti-Zionism,
causing. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I define as anti-Zionism as wanting Israel destroyed, right? Not criticism of Israel. So,
It is with some more steps, but it essentially is. But people on the left won't admit that. Yeah.
Okay, well, we see eye to eye on that. Okay. In general, where do your frustrations lie the most with the American Jewish community, especially like the establishment in those communities, and where do you think that they can do better to get through and to try to minimize anti-Semitism and within the Democrat Party and all that kind of stuff?
I think that they're walking the line almost perfectly right now. I think it's really hard. I think it's really difficult to support Israel because the type of war that they're conducting it lends itself to the worst type of PR ever. And they have botched some things up. The WCK attacks were really bad. There's just been the bombing near the camp that ended up killing people near the Al-Mawasi beach a couple months ago. Like there's been issues. It's like Jesus. So I think that the Democratic Party, like the Biden administration, I think is handling it about while still showing strong support towards Israel, but also being critical enough to maintain Democratic popularity at home and legitimacy around the world. I think the Democratic Party is navigating it about as well as I think they could. I think.
Okay. Well, is there anything you want to ask or?
No, I think the most frustrated I get, and I understand I don't know how much is your position versus the devil's advocating position, but the most frustrating thing I get is there are so many Jews or Israelis that argue, and it feels like all of their arguments are basically aimed at a status quo type thing, and I feel like they just can't see that the path that they're on is leading them to destruction. Like if you can imagine, there's a cliff that's 100 feet in front of you, and then there's another cliff 20 feet to the right, and you're driving forward, and it's okay, well, we need to turn around, and the only way we can turn around is to make a U-turn to the right, and people are okay, but look, we could be immediately destroyed there, so let's never turn off, and they're just barreling down right off a cliff, and it's this is the end, you're heading towards the end. I don't know why you don't see that you're heading towards the end. And there's always these micro concerns that are well, what if we get more here and more there? And it's okay, well, whatever, I guess. Then what's your idea? What's your suggestion? Because it's never anything more than just the status quo. Anytime somebody fights back against, okay, well, fuck it, let's just go to 2005 style disengagement with the West Bank as well. Well, what about this? Okay, well, fine. What do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. Okay, then die, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think what I go through, so mostly I was playing devil's advocate, but I was playing devil's advocate with kind of what I call a little person, like voice on my shoulder, right? And I think a lot of minorities feel this way, where you have your logical brain of the things that you're a normal person, you've got your values and your politics and the research that you've done and the conclusions that you've come to as a consequence of that research and all of that kind of stuff. And that's your normal logical brain. And then you've got this emotional part that sees stuff and it gets you scared, right?
Sure.
And you get anxious, and the emotional part. And then there's that little voice that kind of thinks, oh, there's no way that the non-Jewish people are going to protect you. They all just still want you dead. It's all the same thing that your grandparents told you, right? The only thing you can do is make Israel as strong as possible, because you can only trust Israel to protect us. Things like that, where it's and you're shush voice,
Yeah, I guess, and maybe
where that comes from?
I understand where it comes from, and again, maybe I'm I don't know, maybe I don't know. There's always a lot of stuff I could be missing. It's just when you consider how careful Israel was in even Herzl, when he talks about leaving Europe, is talking about how to plan everything and how we can all leave, and the Christians will be happy because they can take our jobs and it'll be super cool, and they'll be happy to see us go, and we'll wave them off because we know they fucking hate us and it's great. And then you see when they get to Israel, well, we need to figure out how do we make these people like us? Everybody wants to kill us, and well, we kind of have secret talks with the King of Jordan, so we're kind of cool there. And it's okay, well, maybe we could do secret plans to get Britain and France to like us, or maybe we could do something to make America like us. It was always this combined, you had the military power and the might and everything that was cool, but it was combined with a very, very, very dedicated support to this pragmatic diplomacy. Like, how do we get people in the West to give us security guarantees? How do we navigate these strained relationships with our neighbors? Like, what do we do? And that was always this concern. And there were always talks of like, like, how do we shore up demographics in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip? We can't do it. We can't take these places. We don't do it. It didn't happen until 67, right? This is like intentional. Like, all of this was always factored in. In Yom Kippur, like, okay, we can't keep marching north to Beirut. Like, the entire world is going to come down against us. We can't keep marching south to Cairo. Like, everybody's going to fucking, like, it was always this pragmatic concern. And nowadays, when I look at like Israeli political speech, especially from Netanyahu, it feels like Israel just has this delusion of like, we can just do whatever the fuck we want because the only way we got here is through our like military power, and we don't need to worry about what the world thinks about us, and we can just do whatever the fuck. And it's like, I don't know, it just seems like all the pragmatism is gone, and now it's just this like foolish dedication to thinking that Israel can stay the course no matter what, and some righteous fury or whatever will guide them to the Holy Land. Or so, I don't know. It feels like very unpragmatic.
I think it's a mix of like the feeling like the only thing we can rely on is the military, right? Every other ally is flimsy. But the other factor is that who is a Zionist has changed significantly. Zionism used to be a primarily left-wing progressive attitude, and so and it was started mostly by labor Zionists, so who literally believed that they were going to like build settlements in Israel, and the people who lived there would love them and everything would be great, and they would just work hard and build farms, and they were mostly non-religious or atheists. So slowly over time, like the government of Israel made lots of deals with the religious sections of the Jewish community to try to get them on board with Zionism, because originally they were mostly all anti-Zionist, and now they are mostly on board, and there have been consequences to that, because now that they're on board, they're part of the conversation. A lot of them have taken over the conversation. So I think so now you have religious Zionism, which is so different than the original attitudes, and I think that that's probably the huge differences that you're seeing, because someone like Netanyahu needs to appease those religious Zionists. It's important for his coalition, right?
Sure. Well, yeah, the coalition.
And they're a much higher population in Israel now.
Yeah, man, that government style is really cancer in Israel. That was actually the second thing. I'd say I learned that going down there. I could have learned it just, I guess, reading the Wikipedia, but I didn't realize how many fucking parties it took to build coalitions in Israel. That is actual cancer AIDS.
It's crazy.
Did
it make you appreciative of your system in the United States?
Yeah, holy shit. Two parties is based compared to having 20 random fucking parties of people that you all have to like appease. But I will say again, like historically, Israel had, like, here are some just things to consider. One, Israel did do good militarily, but they also were incredibly powerful diplomatically as well. Peace with Egypt was a really big deal. Peace with Jordan was a really big deal. And these were like heroic efforts, partly by the Arab leaders themselves and also by the Israeli leaders that were willing to make bold, brave decisions and bold, big sacrifices, sometimes resulting in their lives. Like that was the commitment that it took to get this stuff done. It was never just the military. It was always both arms, military and diplomacy simultaneously working, in conjunction with one another. Sometimes one constrained by the other, admittedly, usually the military being a bit more aggressive than the diplomatic arm. But yeah, that was always really important. But now it just seems like Israel thinks that they can do it militarily. I love Israel. I'm a big supporter of the Israeli military. If Israel were to go to war in Lebanon, I'm not fully convinced that Israel would even win that attack. I think that Israel has deluded itself again a bit in fighting with Hamas, which is like bullying school children. A full-on confrontation with only Hezbollah, even without Iran helping, could be catastrophic.
I think it would have won it in October, but I don't think it would win it now. I think it's really... because Israel's very good at quick, short wars, and it's not.
Israel is good at quick, short wars, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's been at war for a long time now. It's like it's really.
Is your impression that 2006 was good or bad for Israel in the war against Hezbollah?
I honestly have no.
That's fine. Okay, because I know that some people have different opinions about it.
Yeah.
But
I go back and forth on it. Yeah.
Hezbollah.
When it comes to a lot of the modern politics, that's where I lean.
Okay. In my opinion, very, very limited information because I haven't studied Hezbollah as much, but Hezbollah to me, especially after 2006, comes off as like all of the guerrilla crazy tactics of Hamas, but also with like the formal military equipment and training of a standing army.
They're
I think that
extremely
was,
powerful.
yeah, I think that was
Something
one of the
not
quotes of one of the Israeli soldiers when they were interviewing people like after to figure out what happened. It was like, yeah, it was like, you know, we basically chased and cornered like Hezbollah armies into these areas, but then they would stand and fight, and they're not supposed to do that. And then we would lose these engagements. Or rather than like houses that are like fucking booby trapped with these shitty Hamas IEDs, it would be like houses with like roofs with hangars that would open for like missiles to come out. Yeah, it was just like Hezbollah is, yeah. And in all the weeks of that 2006 war, I think that Nasrallah was knocked off the radio for like, I think it was for like 2 days or something. It wasn't much time at all. Like they were very, very, very good. So I'm just saying that if Israel starts to like broaden its appetite for war and they start to incorporate things like southern Lebanon or like Iran gets involved, like that stuff can just go south so quickly. And I think Israel has to go back to understanding that like the diplomatic arm of what it does is incredibly important. It was always just as important as the military arm. It was always equally important.
Yeah.
But
I know that initially Israel was planning. I think Bibi wanted to do. I don't know if it was Bibi, but I think the head of the army, I forget who his name was at the time, that he was. He wanted to do
Golan?
an attack.
Are we talking about?
Yeah, Golan.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to do an attack on Lebanon literally when October 7th happened. Sorry, not Lebanon, but Hezbollah.
Hezbollah, yeah, sure.
And that was, and they were actually planning that because they felt that was the more dangerous enemy, and the United States dissuaded them. Like I know apparently Biden like dissuaded him like himself.
That sounds to me like a good idea, but I don't know how true it is. But Hezbollah also reportedly has like the third largest stockpile of I think missiles in the world right now. Like it would, from what I've seen, from what
that's also really scary that this like terrorist organization is
Yes.
keeping everyone hostage. That powerful, it needs to be dealt with at some point.
They do, yeah. But I don't know if it's just going to be by the Israeli military. That seems like it needs to be more of a coalition type thing or more of a world. Yeah.
And so maybe Israel, that could be a way to convince Israel to make some concessions, right? Like we help you with Hezbollah, right? In return for, you doing better with the Palestinians or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it. I wanted to just I know that there's like every Jewish person I speak to feels like really divided. I always say like that Jews very much feel like the ball being bounced between the left and the right. And a lot of people, most Jews are not political, right? Like they just don't want their communities to get attacked and their family, and they want their family to be safe. So those are like their primary concerns, and I think that's fair. So yeah, I think it's good for them to hear something.
I think I just think the most important thing is there has to be like a vision for Israel in the future. There has to be a comprehensive vision that incorporates figuring out the problem with the Palestinian people that can't just be kicked down the road longer and longer.
Yeah.
It's made it so much more
and
painful.
Also like and also like the difference, like the Democratic Party is just a little more critical of Israel, but being more critical can actually ironically be more pro-Israel.
Absolutely, I think, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks for chatting to me. I'm streaming again, so I've been kind of getting back into it a bit. So yeah, if any of your followers want to check me out, you're welcome to. Where
can they find you at?
Aristocracy TV, basically everywhere. I'm now on YouTube. That's a big change. So yeah, moving to bigger things in life.
Nice.
But yeah, I still stream on Twitch. I had to stop because you're apparently still banned here.
True. Yep.
Yeah, you got to deal with that at some point, like Hezbollah.
Yeah,
I mean, don't deal with it like Hezbollah.
True. Okay.
But
all right.
Anyways, see ya.
Have fun. Be careful. Don't die.
Bye.
Where were we 2 hours ago? This isn't real, right? There's no way Tim Waltz tweeted this. Somebody in chat said it wasn't real, so not real. Okay.